Welcome to today's episode of Success Matters, Rays of Hope. My guest today is an incredible woman, Love Melody, who is rewriting the narrative for orphans in Nigeria. Growing up as an orphan herself, Love experienced firsthand the harsh realities and heartaches that can shape the lives of those without a stable home or family to call their own. But instead of succumbing to despair, she chose a different path. A path defined by compassion, determination, and the belief that every child deserves a chance to thrive. As you listen to this episode, I hope you're inspired as much as I am by the indomitable spirit of Love, who is truly making a difference one orphan at a time. And to make a difference yourself, head over to her foundation's website, lovemelodyfoundation.org. That's lovemelodyfoundation, all is one word, .org. So Love, thank you very much for joining Success Matters. You started following me on LinkedIn a short while back, and when I looked at your profile, I was fascinated to see your story and to hear what you're up to with regards to supporting orphans in Nigeria. So let's start actually with your own story and where it began. I understand from what you've posted that you yourself were an orphan. So how old were you when that happened, and what were the sort of circumstances behind that?
Thank you for the privilege. I lost my dad on the 6th of September 2007. Then after 5 months, I also lost my mom. And it's on the 14th of February 2008. So after my both parents died, like I've lived with so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I lived with my auntie, secondly, my grandma, thirdly, at the orphanage, then lastly with my pastor before I left. And when I gained admission, I traveled and left them. So from there, I started life afresh. While I was at the orphanage, I was working. I was working as a salesperson for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the money I saved that I used in registering a JAM. In Nigeria, you have to write a JAM exam before getting admission to the university.
Okay.
Yes, so that was how I managed to save the money, gain admission, then relocated to where I am now.
Okay. All right. So where were you living before where you are now?
When I came to school, I was homeless.
Right.
Yes, when I came to school, I was stranded. Like, I have nobody here, no friend, no relative.
Mm-hmm.
So it was in school, I met some of my lecturers, tell them my story, how I managed to get to school. Then I started looking for some of my classmates that can accommodate me for some time, because the money I was having was not up to the amount I can rent an apartment for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I squatted with a friend for a year. So while in school, I was doing business and I was working. That was how I managed to get a place to stay.
So you were orphaned roughly, we're in 2023, so roughly 15 years ago. Is that correct? Is my maths correct there?
Yes, 15, yes, 16.
Yeah. And so you were working whilst you were in the orphanage to save money to be able to do your exams, to be able to go on to university.
Yes.
Okay. So you clearly had a vision in mind to have that sort of sense of wanting to go to university and get your education done. Where does that drive come from?
This zeal was there right from the beginning.
Uh-huh.
Because my dad promised me, like, he saw me while growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So he promised me that he would sponsor me high institution.
Right.
So while growing up, the zeal of going to school was on me. Like, I really wish I'm in school.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I started working towards it.
Right. Okay. And so when you lost your father and then you lost your mother so soon after, what did that feel like to you? It must have been very scary time. I think I would have been scared if I was in your situation. How was your reaction to that?
I felt the world has ended. I believe orphans have no future.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So because even when my dad died, so I was living with my dad's sister.
Uh-huh.
So after 5 months, my mom died. They didn't tell me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she died. I was buried. They didn't tell me. It was after some months, my auntie she started caring for me. I was like, why this strange attitude? Because she have not been doing that. Started caring for me, took me to the markets,
Mm-hmm.
then and told me to pick whatever I want. So I never knew we were going to visit my mom's family. So she
Right.
just wanted me to wear new clothes so that they will not feel she's maltreating me or something.
Mm-hmm.
So after when we went there, they now broke the news to me that my mom is dead. So it was as if I was dreaming. I didn't believe.
Yeah.
So they took me to her graveside. They showed me where they buried her. Then it was later on they had to show me her pictures where she was lying down, lifeless. That was where the thoughts came again, like, okay, so so I was like, my dad is gone and my mom is gone.
That's tough. That's got to be very,
And,
very tough.
and even when my mom was alive, because I traveled to my auntie place on the 9th of January 2008,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom died the next month, 14th February.
Yes.
Yes, and before leaving, she promised that she will come and visit me. So I was like, so I will not see her again and all that. Yes, after visiting my mom's family, and I now went back to my auntie's place. So that was when the maltreatment started.
And how old were you at this time?
8 to 9 years.
8 or 9 years of age. Wow. So that's, I mean, just listening to your story there, I just can't imagine what that must have felt like for you at that age, to be in that situation. But you had that drive and that determination to see your way out of this and to get some education, which is very commendable. So once you finished your education, what did you do next? Did you set up your foundation straight away, or did you go and do some work? What was the next step in your life?
My foundation and business.
And so your foundation. Well, actually, let's start with your business. What's your business? What's the nature of your business?
I said clothes, I said jewelry.
Sorry, clothes and jewelry.
Yes.
Okay. And where do you sell that? Is it to stores? Is it through like a
Post
market?
them online.
Okay, you sell online.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And it's just
Yes. And I also make surprise packages for people.
okay,
Portraits, throw pillow, mug, and more.
right. Okay, so you're doing all of that online. Do the jewelry, the clothes that you sell, do you make any of those, or do any of the orphans that you support, do they make any of those?
So,
So you're buying those in and then selling them, and is
yes, buying and selling.
are the profits from that business, the money that you make from that business, do you use it towards the foundation?
Yes, because we don't have donors and we don't have supporters. We don't have donors. So it's from my business and support from friends and relatives. Maybe someone can just come across my post and like what I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
Just support.
So at the moment, the foundation is basically funded from the money that you are able to put to it, plus also money that friends or others might donate towards it. How does the funding or the finance model for charities and foundations work in Nigeria? Does the government provide any funding, or does it always have to come from sort of private individuals and other organizations?
That's what I don't really know, because we have no person fund us yet, and there are some mediums we are supposed to use. It all depends on connection. For now, we don't know any medium of getting support from the government.
I see. Okay. So it is all just from your own money that you're funding this charity, right? Okay. And which parts of Nigeria are you based in, or your foundation based in?
Eastern part of the country.
Eastern part. Okay. And how many children do you support through your foundation?
In my foundation, I have two categories of orphans I'm taking care of. The first one, there's a first one are the street children.
Okay.
Orphans in the streets, no parents and no home. They
Right.
don't have a home. Yes, so those ones are the ones I'm giving them 100% of my time, providing food and clothing. Why I'm more concerned about these ones is because they don't have a home,
Uh-huh.
and they do stay outside at night to wait for shop owners to close their shop so they can sleep in front of their shop till the next day. Concerned about this one because they are not safe.
How many sort of children are you supporting that are sleeping on the streets at the moment?
Yes, the ones that are willing to change are 30. I can't flow. They are much. So I can't flow. I can't help all of them.
Yes.
So the ones that are ready to change are 30. Then in the other aspects, just like I said earlier, that I have two categories of orphans I'm reaching out to. The other category, the second category is orphans who are fortunate to have guidance, but their guidance are not financially buoyant to even sponsor them in this primary or secondary school. So those orphans, we do visit them just twice a year.
Right.
Yes, we visit them in their schools because we have their names and everything. So we don't visit them in their various schools. Like September, on the 11th of September, I'll be reaching out to them. There are 40 students. So what we do is that we provide writing materials for them. September is first term. So we'll be reaching out to them, providing their writing materials and school fee or levy. Then when they resume second term, since they will still be in that same class, we won't buy writing materials for them. We'll only pay their fees and school levy. So the second orphans, we only support them in their academics. Then the first one I said, the street children are the ones that will be in our orphanage once our orphanage home is set, because they don't have a place to stay.
So there's about 30 children who are street children that you're supporting with food and clothing, and a plan to bring them into an orphanage once you are able to set up your orphanage. And there are 40 children who are orphans who are in school that you're supporting through providing finances towards their school fees and also providing their writing materials for that. So that's 70 children, right? So that's quite a big number. How big is your team that helps you, or is it all just you doing this?
We are just ish with just they have passion for it as well. There's some doing it and they like it. So whenever I tell them, whenever I come up with a plan, they will agree on it and we'll work and pray over it. We'll pray towards it and we'll make sure it comes to pass.
And when you said about bringing the street children into an orphanage, how far are you in being able to get an orphanage set up for them? What's involved? How much finances do you need? How much help will you need? What will that look like?
Based on my experience, because I lived at the orphanage.
Mm-hmm.
So setting up an orphanage is 4 bedroom, one bedroom, one room for the girls, one room for the boys,
Mm-hmm.
one room as our store,
Right.
then one room for. And since we are just starting, I don't think we need staffs.
Would you be able to get 30 children into a 4-bedroom place?
Bunk.
Bunk beds, yeah.
Yes.
And you actually made an interesting point, one for the girls, one for the boys. So how many of the street children that you're supporting are girls?
25.
Oh, wow. Okay. So are you focusing more on supporting the girls that are on the streets?
Yes.
So that's got to be very difficult for them, right? Being on the streets as girls. I can understand why you are concerned for their safety and why you want to do something for them. How far or how much time would it take for you to be able to find some accommodation for these girls?
I'm working towards it maybe next year.
Next year, okay. But in the meantime, they're unfortunately having to live on the streets.
Still on the streets.
Right.
That's why we visit them as often as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they still are with their relatives and friends.
What if you could describe for us, because I have people who listen to the podcast from all around the world. What are conditions like in the part of Nigeria that you live in, for things like water, food, electricity, sanitation? Could you just paint us a picture of what your area is like, so that we can understand a bit more about that?
Okay, where I am is not a rural area. It's an urban area, so we have lights.
Okay.
It's not constant lights.
Okay, so it's more of an urban than rural.
Yes. We still have less privileges and street beggars.
As street beggars, right? Okay. Sort of typical places that people are staying when they're staying on the streets. You said is sort of like in the entrance to shops and offices. Is that the sort of where they're finding shelter?
Yes.
Okay, so as you know, this podcast series that I run is called Success Matters. I have a feeling what your answer will be to this, but what does success mean to you? What will a successful outcome be for you?
Success is the accomplishment of an aim of success. So to me, success is achieving my goals.
Mm-hmm.
Success is fulfilling my dreams. Success is putting smiles on orphans' faces.
Right.
Yes, because success is empty when you arrive at the finish line alone.
Yeah. That's a really powerful.
Yes. So making them smile is a success.
Mm-hmm. I really like what you said there about success is empty when you arrive at the finish line alone. That's I'm going to remember that for future conversations that I have with people. That is very powerful. I ask previous guests of mine to ask a question for my next guest. My last guest, he actually he has fostered 2 children who were in care homes, and part of that was around him wanting to make a difference in the world to at least these 2 children. So he's asked the question for me to ask of you, my next guest. The question is,
yeah, I'm going to ask them, what do they want on headstone?
what do they want on their headstone? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So what do they want? What do they want to write on the headstone?
I want to be remembered for the impact of the orphans we still. I want to be remembered for the impact of lives. I haven't even know how to explain it. I want to be remembered for my impact in orphans' lives.
Okay, so you want to be remembered for the impacts in the orphans' lives. Okay, and at the moment you're already making quite a big impact. So that's already in hand. Do you have a question for my next guest?
Question is, what's your passion?
What's your passion? Okay. If I were to ask that question of you, love, what would you say your passion is?
My passion is doing the things that makes me happy. That is putting smiles on offers faces.
Yeah.
So I'm putting smiles on people's faces, both in charity and in comedy.
So if people wanted to help help you accelerate, get more funding towards your orphanages or do something, how could they best help you?
Yes, the support we need at the moment is for funds to be able to set up an orphanage.
And how much money does it take to set up the orphanage?
5 million
5 million
naira.
naira. Okay. All right. So that's the sort of number. And if people want to donate towards you, do you have a donations page? How is it? Is it through your foundation? How best can they contact you and make a donation if they want to make a donation?
Foundation website.
Okay. And can you just remind people what the foundation website is?
The name?
Yeah.
www.lovemelodyfoundation.org.
Okay. So people can find contact details on there and details of the work that you're doing.
Yes, all our social media handles are linked on the website.
So love, in terms of the next 5 years, where do you see the foundation 5 years from now?
5 years from now,
Mm-hmm.
I see the foundation like it's not just from 5 years. 5 years from now, it's not just the 30s that their lives will be transformed.
Mm-hmm.
5 years from now will impact more lives, and I believe by then, most of the children we are taking care of might be in a high institution.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and
Okay.
yes, and some will be doing well in business, because it's not all the children that want to go to school.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
yes, so will want to learn a trade, and 5 years from now, I see something great. The transformation will be massive.
Okay. And in 5 years from now, how many do you have, like a target number of children that you would like to have helped?
5 years from now, 200.
200. Okay. All right. I mean, that's I'm sure that's quite a fair number to achieve, because you're already supporting 70 children.
Okay. 200, yes, 200, because by the time you start transforming their lives and they are doing better,
Yeah.
Yes, you have to, like, okay, since I've saved this one, let me look for someone else and help. That's how it is.
Yes. And how so with street children, I suppose it's kind of obvious you go out onto the street to find them and help them. For those children that are in a school or an orphanage, I suppose, how do you identify the children that you're going to help that are already within a school or an orphanage?
Okay, currently we are supporting orphans in school. They are not in any orphanage home.
Okay.
Yes, they are not in any of the orphanage. So they are in school. They have guidance. Sometimes, most of them they are living with their old grandma or old grandpa.
Right.
So that's the same that same situation I went through. That's why I'm trying to help them, because I was living with my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and my grandmother is disabled. So
Okay.
her presence in my life was just to, like, caution me and direct me on what to do. Yes, so growing up, like, school fees, everything, it was as if we were working for the money, because I was hawking. After school, I'll come. After closing from school, I will hawk. That's how we have been feeding, and paying my school fees. So because of that, most of these students in school, the first time we visited, they have so many records of debts in their register that they have not paid.
Right.
Because of that, I feel, yes, because sometimes having a guardian doesn't mean you're safe.
Yes.
Yes, because these people are just there to just guide you. It's not to work hard and become somebody in life.
And do we find many of these orphans have to drop out of school because they can't work, or they're basically having to support their...
So many, because the last time we went, we visited their school. We visited their school on the 22nd of July
Yeah.
last month. Yes. So it was their close. They were celebrating their graduation. So we visited their schools. Some of them didn't come to school. They didn't come to school. So
Okay.
because of that, we have their names and details. That even if you see them in school, we visit them in their
Okay.
in their houses.
So you're going out and doing the outreach. For someone like me who's based in the UK, so thousands of miles away from where you are in Nigeria, but if I want to help, outside of just helping with regards to finances, what else could I be doing to help your cause and to help you achieve your target of supporting 200 orphans within the next 5 years?
In my foundation, the basic needs are feeding and clothing. Yes.
Okay.
Feeding is, yes, feeding is the most, let me say, the most important aspects in everything we are doing. Yeah, because if they don't eat, they will be angry.
Yeah.
And because of that, there was a time we experienced a harsh cashless season in Nigeria. So because of that, I myself, I was also affected. So I was unable to reach out to them and support, because we do buy foods for them, buy foodstuffs that will last for maybe 1 month or 3 weeks.
Okay.
So during that period, I was unable to reach out to them, and they started, and if they don't see me, they will start begging on the streets.
Right.
So that, during that cashless season, there was no cash. So yes, so they could not even get help from people by begging. The next time we visited them, we didn't see soap. They didn't see soap of the children.
I'm assuming that the meal that you provide is the only meal they will have in the day, and that's why feeding is so important.
Yes, feeding is important, because if they don't eat, they'll go on the street and start begging.
Right. Okay. So this keeps them off the street, at least from the begging side. And are the street children? Are you able to also get them into school as well?
The street children are the children that will be at the orphanage. So they can't be in school now because they are still on the streets.
Okay.
Yes, no place for them to keep their books or school uniform, so they can't go to school now. Yes. So it's when maybe after setting up an orphanage, that's when they can start going to school.
Yeah. Okay. And your faith is very important to you as well, right? And I've come across that in some of your posts. What I would say that in many you're doing God's work here, right, to help these children who are in a similar position to that you had found yourself in, and but you're actually looking to do something for them to help them. So I admire what you're doing here. I think it's very, very admirable. It's very, very much about, as you said, with success. If you cross the finish line by yourself, then that's not success. And so in 5 years' time, if there was a race taking part, I would hope to see you with 200 children's hands being held together, all running over the finish line. That would be fantastic. So love, we're at the top of our time now. So this has been a very fascinating conversation. It's different to the ones that I typically have with people, but your story, it's very, very moving, and what you're doing for the children, it's like I said, it's highly admirable. And if there's anything that any of us who are listening can do, we'll look at the foundation websites. We'll look to help out as we can. So thank you very much for sharing your story.
Thank you for recommending me.
You're welcome. After our recording, I asked Love for some further details on the work that she does and the costs. She shared with me that to feed a child for a day costs approximately $2. The clothing for a year is approximately $130, and the schooling, this is fees and uniform, is about $200 for the year. So if you'd like to help Love to bring a smile to the face of an orphan, you can donate at her website, lovemelodyfoundation.org. That's Love Melody Foundation, all is one word, .org. If you'd like to find out more about how you can find your success, contact me at info@successmatterscoaching.com. That's info@successmatterscoaching.com.